Let me congratulate the new mayor of Chicago. We talked yesterday with Drew McCaskill about both Chicago and Wisconsin showed up and showed out. I cannot pronounce this woman's name, but she's a game changer. I reached out to her, the new Supreme Court person that hopefully will change the courts. And by changing the courts, set the course back in the way it should be, which is for the people, by the people, that the majority should rule, that people who elect should have their voices heard. It should not be an apartheid system anywhere in this world, not especially not here in America, which is supposed to be rooted in this thing called democracy and people rule. So Wisconsin might actually be the state that sets the course back to I don't even want to call it normal, because I don't think this country has ever been normal. I mean, it started in enslaving people and killing the indigenous people that were here. That's a fact. That's history. We should teach it, because in order to form a more perfect union, we all have to start with a healthy understanding of what this is, so that we can make it better. And we can make it better, can't we? I think we can. We should. And if we don't, it will end. I promise you. But I wanted to start with respect before I do again. Congratulations, Brandon Johnson. He is now the mayor of Chicago, and I'm happy about this. I didn't bring in because there's like conflicting stories. Some of y'all hit me backdoor, like Paul Vallis is not that bad, and some of you are like Brandon Johnson might not be the best choice, and so I'm like, I don't know. I invited them on to talk. I know Reese had Brandon Johnson on her show, the Reese Colbert Show, Saturdays right here on Urban View. And I've actually had some dealings with Paul Vallis when I covered education on the editorial board of the New York Daily News. So I have, actually some good memories of him. He was always very accessible, and he seemed to be very smart and cared about children at the time. And, we had lovely conversations, but I do know that he also, is connected to Betsy DeVos. Whether he took the money or not, the fact that she thought she could give money to him tells me that she probably thinks that he's good. I don't like that. I don't like Betsy DeVos. She was a disaster. So, and then his whole tough on crime, because first we have to identify, listen, nobody wants to live in a state of terror. No one wants to be in a place where, there's rampant crime, violence in particular, drugs, and all kinds of mayhem. No one wants to live in a place like that. Nobody. Let's be clear. There's not a single human being that wants to live in terror. That said, living in terror and also at the same time being terrorized cannot be tenable. Meaning I'm already living in a crime infested area, and then I'm also subject to police treating me like a criminal. These two things will not happen, and they should not happen in any neighborhood. And I'm Exhibit A, New York City, where Black men, in particular, Black men and boys, were stopped and frisked in the city 2 times the rate that they existed. So if there, like say there's 1 million Black boys and men in New York City, 2 million times they were stopped and frisked under Giuliani. That was not, and most of the time they did nothing but be Black. And most of the time it was like Khalif Browder, maybe jumped a turnstile. I don't even know what his crime was. Khalif Browder, 16 years old, that they held in Rikers for a number of years and then released him. And he ended up hanging himself with a air conditioning cord, because I don't know about the unthinkable things that happened to him while he was behind bars, but I think there were unthinkable things that happened to that baby while he was behind bars for doing something that in many instances might be a misdemeanor at best. But the point is, when you target a community, you're going to find crime. Please target the Upper West Side and Upper East Side. Please target the places where, the wealthy parts of Florida. Target the wealthy parts of Texas that are melanemic. Target New Hampshire. Like, put that in a police state. You're going to find crime there. You're going to find crime. Because where you go, you will seek and ye shall find, for those of you who like the Bible. Seek and ye shall, you're going to find it. So, it's kind of a catch-22. We're going to be tough on crime. How about you provide people with services and an education and housing and see what happens? Let's try that as a governance practice, not tanks and guns and, more police. How about some folk that can deal with mental health and unhoused folk? How about that? Let's put resources into that. Less in the military, more in humanity. Well, Paul Vallis lost with his Tough on Crime platform, and I'm here for it because what we don't need is more brutalization and terrorism in Black communities. And so Johnson ran on a platform of taxing the wealthy. As a wealthy person who's taxed, I'm actually okay with that. I pay into a school system that I do not utilize, and I provide through my tax dollars federally and locally resources for people who need them. And I think that's the price you pay for doing well. It's okay. It's all right. Guess what? Still wealthy. Still got money. It's okay. So Mr. Johnson, also school teacher, also part of the teachers union. I'm here for that. Cook County Commissioner. He was also Cook County Commissioner. There's a beautiful picture of him with his children and his wife. Beautiful, beautiful. Chicago Teachers Union. He was a member of that. And there was a runoff that he won. 55th anniversary of Martin Luther King's assassination. He said, today we did not just acknowledge the assassination of a dreamer. Today, the dream is alive. So today we celebrate the revival and resurrection of the city of Chicago. I hope that he lives up to it. And more importantly, Brandon Johnson, if you need help, ask for it for the people that elected you, because our responsibility is not just voting and then complaining for the next 4 years. Our responsibility is to vote and then do something, whether it's requiring more of the people that we elect, whether it is rolling up our sleeves and getting busy, offering up services, making people's lives easier. Now the real work has to happen, and that has to come from the people of Chicago. So you have to first imagine the city that you want to live in. So you cast a vote, you elected Mr. Johnson to lead you. Now you have to roll up your sleeves and get busy building. So it's not just on him. And everybody's like, well, my vote doesn't. Yeah, your vote doesn't count because all you did was vote. Do more. You got the time, stop watching some of them housewife shows. And this is somebody that will watch a housewife show, but I'm also doing stuff. I may watch a housewife show and at the same time do the work. If you can't juggle all of that, put the housewife show down and then go out and do some work, because it's more important that you live in a community that is thriving and your children can have places where they can go and play and be free and be their full selves and enjoy life than whether Giselle is a green-eyed bandit. She is, by the way. And Candace is the queen of the clapbacks, all of that. And I'm not looking forward to Atlanta. They look like they're going to suck this year. Yes. And I, at the same time, can have these conversations.